So hello world. So this session is about pointers, function pointers, and how to declare function pointers, how to declare functions that receive other functions as parameters, how to declare functions that returns other functions as return type. So let's start by defining an integer variables and see how we declare different pointers. So if we want to declare pointers that point to an integer data type, that's fairly simple. You just have to type in the copy the declarations and you add one star and you rename it to the name of your pointers. And now we want to declare another pointer that point to a pointer that point to an integer data type. You just copy that. And this one, I'm going to add another star sign then. So these pointers can receive the address from these kind of pointers, and this one can receive the address from this one. And we can continue so on and on and on. Just add one star. So this one can receive the address of A, and this one can receive the address of P, and this one can receive the address of BP, and so on. Now, how to declare a pointer to a function. This is what we're going to do. Um, let's simply delete these things. And let's say you have a function called print hello, and this function will just print hello. Hello. And let's declare or define another function that doesn't receive any parameter. And we're going to just say good morning. And that's it. This is two function that greet. So this will be good morning. So how do we declare a function that pointers to the function who have these kind of prototypes? Fairly simple. You just have to copy the prototype of the function, then pass it in here. And then we're going to make some little changes. You add a parenthesis around the name of the function, then you add a star sign, then after that you rename it to the variables you want. Let's say I'm going to call it the greeting function. So these variables can point to any of these functions or any function that have this kind of signature or prototype. Then next, you can say, let's say you can say greet function. We can then assign the address of the hello world function. The name of the function is an actual pointer to the first instruction in the function of the function. You can use the ampersand sign or you can choose to leave it, but I choose to use the ampersand sign for convenience. Depending on your compiler, I suggest you to always use the ampersand sign. Next, we can call this this function just using the pointer. So greeting function, we call it like that. It will print hello world, same as when you do print hello. So it will print hello. Let's compile this code and see what happened. So gcc main.c, then the output file name, then we execute. Now let's execute this function. Here it displays hello and it displays hello again. The first hello has been displayed from the print hello world the actual call to the function, and the second one is being displayed from the call of the print hello function. So we can change this and even use print good morning, because these two functions all have the same kind of prototype. They all receive doesn't receive argument, and they do not return parameter values. So let's execute this code and see what happens. It displays good morning and good morning. The first good morning displayed here come from this call, and the second one come from the call using the pointers. Now I'm going to do a bit of exercise. So if you want to, now this is a pointer to a, this is a pointers, this is a pointer to a, to functions like that. What if you want to declare a pointer to this pointer? That also is possible. You just have to follow the process. Again, you copy this and you pass it in here. Then here you add another parenthesis. Okay, and then you add a star sign, then you name it pointer to greeting. Pointer to greeting font. And if you want, you can still declare also pointers to these same things again and again by following the same pattern. So for example, if I want to declare a function that point to a pointer that points to this, I would have to add other parentheses, then start at a start sign, then this will be called pp greeting func. This is it. So you have to follow this pattern to declare pointers to pointer to pointer to pointer. Basically, it's the same. You just have to follow add parentheses, then start sign, and you're done. Now, what if you want to declare a function that return a pointer to a function? Let's say you have this function like the add function. The add function receives two parameters. The first parameter is A, the second parameter is B, of course, and it will return the sum of A and B. This is a simple function. This function receives parameters and return an integer value. So how, what if you have other functions like, let's declare a second function. I'm going to call it multiply. This will take A and B and then return the product of A and B. And we have another one, which I'm going to call divide or div. This will return the division of A by B. So that will be A divided by B. So how do we can declare a function that will return one of these functions or as parameter? I'm going to call it a select operator. So select operator. So the select operator will receive a characters, either plus or the star sign or the division sign character, and will return a pointer to one of these functions based on that character. So how do we declare a function that returns a pointer to a function? That is simple. You just have to copy this one like that, the prototype of one of these, and then you pass in, you then delete the name of the arguments. Then you add a parenthesis. It's almost the same as when you're declaring a variable. And you add a start sign. And the difference here is that you're going to add a parenthesis in here. We're going to rename these things. We're going to call it select operator. We have to add the parentheses because this will let the compiler know that this is an actual function. Now, this function can receive a character. This character, depending on the character, it will return an operator. So if C is equal to start sign, then or plus sign, the plus character, it will return a pointer to the add function. If C is equal to the multiply sign, it will return a pointer to the multiply function. If C is equal to div like that, it will return a pointer to the div function. If there's no match, this function will just return a null. That means there's no operator, matching operator. Next, let's declare something like that. We're going to declare a variable called operator, and this will receive a return value from the select operator function. And the types of these variables must be the same type as the return type here. And the return type, we know that it can return these kind of prototypes. So let's just copy and paste. We delete the name of the parameters. We add a parenthesis. Then a start sign. Then I'm going to call it the operator function. Great. So we can now assign or select an operator, let's say the plus operator. Then we call the this function operator func. Then we say 50 plus 21. I want to display that what happens. Yeah, we can either select another operator again. Let's say the multiplication. Then we call the function. So it will have something like 10 times 2. And now the last one, I don't want to assign, but I want to show you how to, that you can directly call the function if you're sure of what the function is going to return. So I'm going to say, we're going to select the division operator. And when it returns the address, we use the parentheses for call. Then, yeah, so 10 divided by 5. And let's see what happens. DCC main.c, then O, then main. Yes. So here, this should not be a string, but it should be a character. It must be a character. Great. We have other issues. What is that? So call object is not a function or function pointer. There was a typo here. Now we are good. So let's execute this code. Yeah. And let's run it. So we see that the first call, it returned the add function and it assigned the address to the operator func variable. And we call the operator func variables here. We call we do the call to the parentheses. Since it is pointing to the add function, then the add function gets executed. That's why we have 71. 50 plus 21 is 71. And here, this is the multiplication. 10 times 2 will give us 20. And here, the division, 10 divided by 5 will give 2. So this is how these things works. Now, what happens? I want to declare a function that receive a pointers to a function. So it will, this time it will receive, let's say, an array and apply an operators to reduce the values in the array. For example, if let's say we have, I'm going to delete this one. Okay. Let's say we have an int, a function that called reduce array. It will receive an array and it will receive the length of that array. And also will receive an operator. So if it receives the add operator, it will add up all elements in the array. If it receives the multiplication operator, it will multiply and return the final products of all elements. If it receives the division operator, it will divide elements by elements. So this function received an operator function. So what we're going to say is we're going to declare a parameter, and the type of the parameter, we do it the same as when we are declaring a variables. So we copy and paste the prototype and delete the name of the arguments. Then we add parentheses around the name of the function, then a start sign. Then after that, we name it to whatever name we want. So I'm going to call it operator func or operator or just func. Great. So here I'm going to declare a variable called I is equal to 0 and another variable is called result. And the result is the one that is going to be returned. So for I is equal to 0, I lesser than length, I plus plus. What do we have? We have that. We apply, we say result is equal to, we call the function since we are multiplying things, we have to say we're going to initiate the result to the first element first, and that's it. 0. Then we start from 1. Then we say result is equal to result. We say result is equal to func Then we pass in the result. Then we pass in the next elements that should be multiplied with or added with. Then at the end, we return the result. So whatever the operator function we pass in here, that will be the things that's going to be done. Now, let's try to see how this thing works. So I have numbers, and these numbers will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here next we have the reduce function. So I'm going to reduce these things in result will be reduce array. Then we pass in the array and then the length of the array. In our case, we have 6. And the operator function, we want to add up all the elements, so we use the add function. Then let's print things. It will say the results are great. So I'm going to run the GCC command and see how these things works. GCC main.co, then main. And after that, what happens? We have the main, we execute, and that's it. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 give 21. What if we change the operator? We can still say we want to use the multiplication operator. So the reduce function receive an operator function and perform those operations based on what it received. So GCC main.c, the O option, then main. Then let's run the code and see. Yeah, so 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 will give us 720. Let's try the division. What are you going to see? So GCC main.c and O main. Let's execute and see what will happen. 0. So 1 divided by 2 divided by 3 give us 0. Since we are using integer division, that's why. But if we change the types, we can see the result. Let's say we change the type to double. So I'm going to left it that way because that will means we have to change the types for also the operators functions, but this is not what I want to do now. So this is how the same ways as you define a pointers to a variables, it's exactly the same ways almost you do with function pointers. Besides that, you have no, almost the same. It's almost the same ways as when you declare a pointer to a function. The only difference is that you add up the parentheses, then you add a star sign, then the name of the variables you want. Great. That's it. I'm going to delete this code. Now, what if you want to declare a function that return a pointer to this function? It is the same process. You just have to say, you copy the prototype, you delete the name of the arguments, you delete the name of the arguments, and then you add a parenthesis around the name of the function, and you add a start sign, then you add, and then you add what? You add a parenthesis. that means this is a function. Then you add a, you name it. I had to rename it to something else. I'm going to call it b reduce array. So that means this function um, will return a pointer to no. Oh yes, that means this function will return a pointer to this function. So what if you want to declare another function that return a pointer to this one? And yes, we can do the same thing. You copy it and that's it. You can just delete the name of the parameters and then add a parenthesis around the name of the function. And what else? You add a start sign, then you add a parenthesis here again, just in front of the name. So select selector, gonna call it. But this time, this function will receive two random arguments like that in totals, just typing things. So double number. So what if you want to declare a function that return a pointer to this function? It is the same thing. Or what if you want to declare a pointer to a variable that can point to this kind of functions? You just have to say, copy the name of the function and you do the change. You delete the name of the parameters and you add a parentheses around the name of the function. Then you add a start just in front and you add and then you name it whatever name you want. So we can also declare a function that return a pointer to these kind of functions. So that way we can still follow the same process. You delete the name of the arguments and you add a parenthesis around the name here. You add a start sign, then you name it whatever you want, select, or you can just call it func select. Then you add a parenthesis because this is a function. Then the function body, you type it here. So you just have to follow the patterns through. This is a fairly or a bit strange, but this is how it works. Beautiful, huh? Great. That's all for now. And let's see for the next session. Have a great time.